fine. I will be arrested for not taking a fucking vaccine. This is not a fucking joke anymore. This is fucking dead serious. I am fucking dead serious. These people don't know who the fuck they're actually playing with. Yeah, in a group they might come and fucking intimidate me and whatnot, but fuck, they do not understand what the fuck just one person like myself is capable of. They do not fucking understand. No fucking vaccine or mRNA will ever flow through my fucking blood. Never! I will fucking die fucking fighting for my...
All right. Is that me in focus? I can't really tell. But welcome everyone. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Not quite Happy New Year yet, but I don't think I'll be able to stream that day. And the only reason that I'm streaming today is that, well, we're, as you'll know from watching the last stream, new subjects, patients are here, I should say. Subjects to a scientist, patients to a doctor. And I'm the scientist, so subjects to me. But what has happened, of course, is that they've received their DFPP protocol started on stem cells, and I'm immediately take those samples and I run them back to the lab for analysis. And so that's what we're going to do today, is look at that, remind ourselves of what we see with this protocol of McCairn protocol, I'm calling it now. Can't get my name plastered all over it. Get the plaudits I deserve. But no, there's many other people involved. It's not just me. And we're going to look at that. And because the data came out so well, and in this particular case, our first two successful DFPP and stem cell approaches were COVID. In this instance, it's a vaccine injury. And so I thought it would be good to update people. And I've spent time just sort of, rather than just visually looking at stuff, quantifying it so we can get some numbers, which is what you should all aim for when you're making claims around the efficacy stuff. I'm looking at you, people that grift nattokinase and what other slop that just doesn't work. Lab proven, doesn't work. Tried it, don't do anything. But we can do something with respect to dual filtration, plasma apheresis, and stem cell growth factors. In fact, it's working fantastically, I have to say. And to see it, have confirmation of it working across both the domains now, which is COVID plus vaccine injury, is it's a good feeling. And all those that have supported all this work over all these years should feel a sense of pride as well, and in particular this case, because the one we're going to look at is a teenager in this instance. And well, I'll just give you a bit of background about the case, which was I was sent samples to have a look at, and the first one that I opened just happened to be the patient we're going to look at today. I do the staining to look for amyloids, etc., and the young lad is full of them. And the one thing we know is that teenage boys, it's in the literature now, have a higher propensity for heart damage, myocarditis, that type of thing. And his blood work was very disturbing to the point that I immediately reached out to the parents and said, you should do something in this instance. There's clear indicators in the blood, and we should and well, it's my duty to, well, they want me to report back, right? But in this instance, I felt it was my duty to sort of pick the phone up straight away and call them. And to their testament, they've gone and done the best for their child. And I can tell you that they went and did EBU 4 times. It didn't do anything. EBU is not the protocol to be treating these amyloids, okay? Nattokinase doesn't work. Augmented NAC. That one always makes me laugh. Where do the comments in green on the left come from? Everywhere. Yours just come from Rumble, I can see. But the yeah, so all I'm going to do in this stream, it's a quick one because I'm supposed to be doing the analysis of this round of DFPP, and the patients are well, it's outpatient, right? But they're dealing with the hospital. They're getting stem cells every day, and they've gone through the DFPP protocol, and the whole family has done it because the whole family. I don't know if that was a particularly hot batch that was being deployed where they got it, but all the family have severe markers for amyloid buildup in the blood. So without further ado, and me babbling on as I tend to do on intros, let's just do this. I'll quickly just switch over, just quick bit of housekeeping. Remind everyone that the only reason we've got to this point is through people supporting and hitting the blue button beneath me. The Hypno collar button is the one to hit, and this isn't a charity where they steal 99%. Everything goes into running the lab, building out infrastructure and logistics to help patients, everything. And we just by the skin of our teeth just keep making it. So if you are wondering, so on this page you can not just donations, but if you want to follow me on social media, if they'll let you, I'm banned across the board for speaking truth to power for the last 5 going on 6 years. But if you would like to get your blood analyzed, you can go to this page, kindly built by Chris, who I see in the chat today. But you can go to get your blood analyzed there, and if you qualify and have the means, you can go and get treated. Now we're gonna just sort of let's see. I've lost my. Where'd you go? Where did you go? This one? Yes, this one. So let's just pull this over here, and it never lets me present on this screen, so we just have to sort of struggle with how that's presenting and how is that looking. Let me just do this. Yeah, I mean, most of you here are hope I had a good Christmas. David, to tell the truth, because the arrival of this family, they arrived on the 24th. Both Charles and myself were working through proper Christmas, but we made sure waifu, God bless her, made a early Christmas dinner, and we handed out a few gifts here and there to for the kids mainly. But yeah, we did get a Christmas dinner just a few days earlier, but we worked through Christmas to get this data, which we're going to look at. So what am I showing on the screen right now? So first, again, is the first data point that we had with respect to, in this case, stem cells working. So we were using a sort of modified real-time quaking-induced conversion test to see if we could eliminate or in any way modify the amyloid cascade that would occur when plasma was exposed to, in this case, and it worked in this case with clots plus spike protein in the mix. And so just sort of to show you that the experiment was done, if anyone wants to screen grab that, there's that's the raw data, and there's a red box which is our control, and then the green box is the lanes running with stem cell growth factor. These are the numbers that came out of the machine, just averaged. But this slide is sort of an aggregation of the data, and on the left box whisker plot, you can see what the average fluorescence was when the reaction was run with no stem cell growth factors, and on the next 3 columns is different volumes of stem cell growth factor. And you know, that's not a fluke. That happened across how many lanes is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 16 lanes across. The result was consistent. So that's a strong response that we first saw, and it was well over a year ago that we first saw this response. No, wasn't it? It wouldn't be a year yet. What's the date on that? Does it have the date? Let me see. When did I do this? I'd have to dig into the RT Quick machine. Doesn't have the date in the title here, just the identifiers. But anyway, we've seen all this before, and so one of the things that I've spoken about since we've been working on this, since we found that DFPP, dual filtration plasma apheresis, was a effective treatment, and coupled with stem cells, and I've said that the procedure is not it's not a health spa treatment like EBU is, right? This approach requires access to major vessels, and here you can see that. So this is how it's being done, and you're seeing a multi-port cannula being, in this case, it's been implanted into the neck of, into the jugular vein of one of our patients, and it's an outpatient procedure. You can walk in the morning and walk out in the afternoon, but in order to be able to move the volume of blood required needs access to major vessels in order to do it properly and thoroughly. Okay, and if we sort of zoom across here, on the left hand side is plasma before the process and plasma after DFPP and the stem cells. And I've lost why did that disappear? Something I've been wondering, if the vax needed to be kept cold, could some of the variation in adverse effects be that the vax was left out? Yes, of course. It was such a massive effort to get that many vaccines out in as short a time as possible. For sure, there are not only manufacturing defects in the bottles, which I think I've amply proven before, and but of course they were basically just getting volunteers to stab people with that stuff. So I would imagine there is a massive range in terms of just the, I want to say, yeah, you could say quality, I suppose, but I hate I hate using that term in this particular instance. But a lot of variance in the manner in which it was kept and delivered, I think, is a more precise way of putting it. But and so we've looked at this slide before. This was our first patient, and this was a patient who non-vaccinated, and came, and actually I was able to take the blood in the lab, and I was like, dude, you have a you got a serious problem. And so we're going to take a look at that data, because I've sort of quantified it a little bit. So it's, well, I think it's easier to visualize, but I've been sort of expanding out the PowerPoint section, which deals with treatment for these bloody amyloids, this fibrinogen amyloids that are clotting up people's blood and causing all manner of problems. And so it's sort of, here you can use a sort of false color type representation, and you can get a sort of standardized scale. And here you can see it after treatment with DFPP and stem cells, and you can see that there's a radical change in the autofluorescence. And so autofluorescence in blood is usually an indicator that there are inflammatory processes going on. And so I said to this individual, please go and get a cytokine panel, which he did, which we'll look at in a minute. But here you can see his blood after being stained with thioflavin. So he was filled with microclots, and then post treatment they're essentially gone away. And here is, if you want to, so what is that? It's basically looking at the fluorescence strength in this image and comparing it with the control, and you can see that the keep still in the pre-treatment it's locked in that fluorescent green wavelength, and after treatment the color is more evened out, and essentially tending towards well, as we see it, black. And so we're lucky, and I'm waiting for the fourth panel to arrive, a cytokine panel. But when he did his cytokine panels, there were many that were out of range. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 that were out of range. This decreased post the first treatment. He continued stem cell therapy, and in fact, his interferon alpha and interleukin 17 have gone below the normal range. And we were able to sort of check his blood cells, and so, or blood work, I should say, and the sort of standard repertoire that you would look for, which is white blood cells and fibrinogen, etc. And we can see, well, let me sort of, so white blood cells prior to treatment mildly elevated, neutrophils slightly elevated, lymphocytes slightly low, platelets high, C-reactive protein mildly raised, fibrinogen was low, likely because it was being bound up in all those amyloid clots. He's got elevated cholesterol and fluorescence amyloid, high diffuse signal. And then in September, come here. Yes, white blood cells normalized, neutrophils in normal range, lymphocytes normalized, platelets mid-normal, CRP near baseline, fibrinogen normal, D-dimer I forgot to read that one out. Was elevated prior, it's lowered in after the first treatment. LDH was lower as well, and the fluorescence is low uniform signal. And so I've just sort of, well, I suppose you can't read that, right? Because it's, yeah. So it's just been graphed here. So I can have a sort of quantitative look, and the white hashed bar, or with sort of diagonal stripes, is like the normal levels, and then blue is September. Blue is August, orange is September, and green is November. And generally, we're seeing a sort of normalization of that. And so, what I wanted to do was just say, what does that indicate? So, interpretation of the DFPP stem cell growth factor effect. So DFP plausibly reduces circulating inflammatory mediators, immune complexes, pro-inflammatory plasma fractions, while SGF may support repair regulation, yielding a global reduction in cytokine activation. For some reason, this column here, he has a marker called MCP1, and he does have ongoing interleukin 18 pattern suggests, but that is trending downwards. The interleukin 18 suggests ongoing tissue level drivers of endothelial vascular damage, persistent antigenic stimulus, or continued clot amyloid related signaling even after systemic improvement. So the conclusion being DFPP plus SGF is associated with broad cytokine normalization, notably interferon gamma, interleukin 12p70, interleukin 23, interleukin 1b, interleukin 6. So now let's move on to the first patient that we've looked at from this week. So it was just to break out. The old doc's waffling again, but just to break out an anecdote. But just, it had to be the worst drive ever coming back from Tokyo. Literally, there were 4 pile-ups or accidents on my way out of, thank God I wasn't one of them, but on my way back from Tokyo to the lab, and such that I left at 8 p.m. and I got home, it was gone 5 a.m. and a lot of that was sort of stuck in traffic, because so many people got stuck in traffic. And I think because a lot of people are moving around, because it's holidays in Japan, right, for New Year. They don't do Christmas, but they do New Year. And along the way, you couldn't even get into parking or rest stops, right? They were all full because there were so many people just stuck on the freeway. And yeah, it was so the doc worked hard for this data, but let's just have a look, right? So we're looking at plasma this time, and which is how the tests are sort of done in the literature. Now, myself personally, I think I'm competent enough to sort of read, and if you spin blood down just to get plasma, you don't get larger, or you remove much of the larger amyloid aggregations. And so I actually like looking at whole blood. But here you can see this is the plasma before DFPP, and this is it after. This is how it looks after. So you can see that there's a massive drop in the fluorescence of the blood, and of course with stem cell growth factors as well. And we can see Bosmont says, if you only take Eliquis, will it help reduce, sorry, it's just going to drop off my screen, I want to read that. Will it help reduce microclots in a similar way to blood filtering? No, you're still going to have microclots, but they will be reduced in aggregation, or the potential to aggregate. And so I've found it helped with myself. I haven't done DFPP yet. I would like to. Going to try and slot myself in somewhere. But you can see that there's a radical change, and we can now sort of run statistics on quantifiable or get quantifiable data from these analyses. And here you can see that there. So we'll start from the top left. So core inclusion count. So basically, how many of these aggregates are there in the samples? And you can see, obviously, going down, that's a significant decrease in the number of inclusion counts per field of view snapshot that the scope has taken, and then just averaged across all those snapshots that you've taken. If there are aggregates, so you can see in this one that there's still some aggregate there. It hasn't got rid of it entirely, which is why we do 2 rounds of DFPP. But this is just going off the first round, first treatment. The core area, so like the brightest part of the clot, if you like, it is going and trending downwards in area millimeters squared, and there's a large reduction in diffuse area that's happening around these microclots. So as the microclot is forming, it's aggregating more and more fibrin and misfolding other proteins, and it's sticking together. So you have a sort of solid punctate core, and then you have a penumbra around it, which is diffuse, and the detection algorithm shows that there's a reduction. And sort of this one is the most important one. So the diffuse area fraction is being reduced, and core circularity actually in the post DFPP increases. And what that means is that the it's a tighter clot form, and potentially, well, we'll see what comments I have to say about that afterwards, but you can see a radical change after the first treatment. Nothing else does this. EBU doesn't do this, and I think even if places were offering DFPP, unless they're doing and going into major vessels like the carotids, you just can't get the flow and volume of blood required to get that type of change that you're looking at there on the screen. And that's it sort of quantified in tabular format. I don't like I like Myriad Pro. There. Looks better to my eyes. So what can we say? What's the conclusions from looking at that? So we see a marked reduction in thioflavin positive amyloidogenic fibrin structures post-treatment. So a decrease in number of discrete fibrin amyloid inclusions per microscopic field. Significant reduction in diffuse amyloid-associated background fluorescence. Residual fibrin structures appear more compact and morphologically simplified. Lower signal to background fluorescence indicate reduced amyloid burden. and cytokine signaling burden, I should add as well. Findings are consistent with effective removal of circulating amyloidogenic fibrin by DFPP. Stem cell growth factor therapy supports remodeling and normalization of fibrin structure. Overall plasma profile shifts from pathological fibrinoid amyloid state towards a normal physiological clot architecture and blood rheology. I was in a rush and I'm thinking of things that I should have added at the time. And of course, you can visually see improvements in the patients. So this is N2, and that's her tone and skin. I'm trying to think of the elasticity, I suppose, the healthiness of the collagen with her skin, and you could see marked improvement visibly within hours of doing this protocol. And so it's going to be a short stream. I just wanted to summarize what we see so far, because I've still got a whole bunch more samples that I need to work through. But that was the first one. It was the most concerning one to me, because it was a teenage boy, and we know teenage boys are the ones most at risk from these shots. And this is a true vaccine injured case. And on the first round, we improved all metrics drastically. And so with that, I'm going to end the stream. I've brought you up to date with the data. I have lots more work to get through, because the whole family decided to do this. So I've got a whole family's worth of samples to work through. But there you go. It's 3 out of 3 now, and I'll wager it'll be 7 out of 7 by the time we're done, in terms of radical change in the pathological markers for COVID, the symptoms that people, or the subjects, patients, are expressing. And if I've given you and you've sent blood before, no need to send blood again. But if you would like to get on the waiting list for that treatment, please let me know. And it's a large Tokyo hospital. It's Tokyo's longest, oldest run family private hospital in Tokyo. And I don't know what they have, 150 beds, something like that. ICU wards, everything. Right? It's full hospital with everything. You need it if you're doing, you're going in and taking the blood out of a major vessel and running it through these DFPP columns. And we've got a specific one that we're using for COVID to sort of help with the neuropathy and pain that people are dealing with. So if you've sent your blood and you have a diagnosis already, let me know if you would like to get in it. If you would like to send your blood, see if you do have some amyloids, let me know. And here's the link. Do this. And yep, I'm out of here. Take care. God bless. And I'll see you in the next one. I've got to go. I'm not even going to do an outro on this one. But Merry Christmas, all. And we're working over Christmas and bringing you really positive data and responses for all those that have been hurt. I wish we could just dole it out free. We should just be able to bill Pfizer and Moderna for the costs. And I don't know, maybe we'll get to that at some point. But till next time I see you again, Merry Christmas. And yeah, support this science if you can. Hit that blue button. If you just want to send a Christmas tip to the dog, much appreciated. All right, I'm out of here. See you later. God bless.